This is the Mint Service Desk Quick Start Guide video. Now that you've signed up for your free trial, let's go over what to do next. In the first part of the video, we walked you through the trial registration process, which you've already completed. Now, let's get started with setting things up. By now, you should have your login portal page ready to use. You've already completed the registration, provided your personal data, company details, and payment information. After that, you received a confirmation email, followed by a message letting you know that your system is being created. Once your system is ready, you'll be guided by a wizard to set up some basic options. Finally, the wizard will direct you to the login portal, where you'll need to reset your admin password. Remember, your admin credentials are the email address you registered with at the start. Now that you've set up your new password, you're probably wondering, what's next? How do I create a new ticket and add more users? In this quick start guide video, we'll answer these questions and more. We'll also explain some basic configurations you need to make in your system to start testing properly. Here's the list of topics we'll cover in this video. First, we'll talk about the different types of users in the system: admins, agents, and customers. We'll explain the roles and permissions that each user type can have, and show examples of how to configure them. Then, we'll review the Company Manager section under the Companies category. After Companies, we'll discuss ticket configuration, starting with the concept of queues, how to define your queue structure and set queue permissions. This is a crucial part of Mint Service Desk, as it forms the foundation for the rest of your configuration. It's important to define it properly based on your business needs. Next, we'll cover types and type permissions, statuses, priorities, and the ticket number format, key attributes for your tickets. Finally, we'll show you how to create your first ticket as an agent. Once we've created the first ticket, we'll explore some basic settings you can adjust in the Global Settings section. For the Customer Portal, we have a dedicated video on our channel that walks you through its features and how to use them. If you didn't configure your email during the setup wizard, don't worry. We have a separate video that guides you through the email configuration process. Mint Service Desk offers several options for setting up your email accounts, allowing you to add multiple mailboxes for receiving emails that create tickets and sending follow-ups. The same goes for custom fields. This feature lets you add extra information and attributes to tickets and assets. We also have another quick guide video that explains how to configure them. We'll include the links to these videos so you can check them out and fully set up your system. Now that we've reviewed today's topics, let's get started. I'll log into the system now. Remember, your admin account is the email address you registered with when you signed up for the free trial. If you're logging in for the first time, or after a period of inactivity, the system will send you an email with an authentication code. Once you log in as admin, you'll be taken to the admin dashboard, where you'll see information about your system, like your purchase package and the activated modules. If you want to purchase additional storage or modules, you can do that easily from here. On the left side, you'll find a menu with all available categories, where you can configure your system. Some of these categories are covered in today's topics. Let's start with users. Click on the users category on the left side, and two options will appear: user management and agent roles. Please click on user management. The user management section will display four options at the top: agent, admin, customer, and unassigned. These are the different types of users in the system. A registered user can be an agent, an admin, a customer, or an unassigned user if no role has been assigned. Below, you'll find the option to search for a user and a list of all registered users, categorized by type. By default, you'll see a test agent account. You can either use this test account or create a new one. Keep in mind that the number of agents you can register depends on the Mint Service Desk Cloud plan you purchased. Admin users do not count as agents in your plan. Now, let's talk about the types of users. An agent is a user who attends to or resolves tickets. Typically, an agent is a member of a support team, a technician, or anyone involved in handling tickets. An agent can access and manage tickets but cannot modify system configurations. A customer is a user who makes requests, typically an internal or external user asking for a service. Reporting an incident, submitting a complaint, or asking a question. In Mint Service Desk, there's no limit to the number of customers or companies you can register. A customer can submit and track their own support requests but cannot view other customers' tickets. If needed, there's a feature flag in the system that allows customers to see tickets from other colleagues within the same company. The admin user has access to the settings section and can modify system configurations. You can have more than one admin user account. Admins have full system access, can configure settings, manage users, and more, but they cannot view tickets. Before moving on to creating users, let's review one more section in the system. Agent Roles. On the left sidebar, under the Users category, click on Agent Roles. Mint Service Desk is a role-based system. This means user access, permissions, and functionalities are determined by their assigned roles rather than individual user settings. In Mint Service Desk, a role is a set of predefined permissions that define what actions users can perform and which parts of the system they can access. Roles help enforce security by ensuring that users only have access to the features they need for their tasks. In the Agent Roles section, you'll find a sample role, Service Desk Agent, that's configured out of the box. In the User Management section, you can add new users in several ways. If you have the Identity Providers module, you can connect your system to various directory services like Active Directory, Azure AD, or LDAP. In some cases, you can even configure single sign-on, SSO, if you don't have a directory service and want to create local accounts. You can easily do that as well, whether you click on Agent, Admin, or Customer tabs. The system will display the corresponding mint-colored button in the top right corner. Create New Agent, Create New Admin, or Create New Customer. Select the desired option. Fill in the required user data, such as username, email address, first name, surname, role, and password, and click Create New User in the bottom right corner. The new user will then appear in the displayed list below. If you already have an account but want to assign a user type, go to the Unassigned tab, find the desired account, and click the Role button on the right. You can then assign the correct user type. Next to the Role button, you'll also find two additional buttons: Activate, Deactivate, and Details. Use Activate, Deactivate to enable or disable a user account. The Details button will take you to the user's personal details, where you can update their information, change their password, or modify additional settings, like the preferred language. If you make any changes, don't forget to click Save Changes in the bottom right corner. Now that we've completed the Users section, let's move on to the Companies category and then to the Company Manager section. In the Company Manager, you can create all the companies you need and later associate them with the customers you want. If you're using the system for external support, this is where you can register all your client companies. If you're using it for internal support, you can also use this section if your company has subsidiaries or is part of a corporate group, allowing you to separate and track tickets per company. If you're only providing internal support for your company or just a few customers, this section is optional, and you can skip ahead to the ticket settings. To create a new company, click on the Create Company button at the top right of the screen. This will open the company creation screen, where you'll find the tabs: General Information, Roles, and Company Users. As you can see, Mint Service Desk is very intuitive. Simply fill in the name field. And if you'd like, you can add extra information such as tax ID, address, or description. You'll also see an option to upload a company logo if you wish. Once you've added the information, click Save Company at the bottom right. After saving the company details, the Roles tab will become active. By default, a role will be created when you save the company. In most cases, this default role is enough. But if you need a more specific role setup for your company's users, you can add additional roles. Roles are important for assigning permissions that should only apply to certain users. For example, in the company's time slots, you might add roles like IT Director, Support Supervisor, or Manager if certain users need permissions that not all customers should have access to. If you don't need specific roles, you can simply use the default one created. You'll see Delete and Edit options on the right side of the role. To delete a role, click Delete. Or to edit it, click Edit. The system will display options to modify the role. You can change the details you filled out earlier, such as name, tax ID, address, or description, and also add permissions to the role. There are two key permissions to consider. Show company tickets. This is helpful when you're using the system for external support. In many cases, each customer has their own tickets, but sometimes a few designated users from a client company may need to see each other's tickets. Enabling this permission allows those users to view each other's tickets, helping to prevent duplicate entries. Cannot close ticket. This permission controls whether customers are allowed to close tickets. Depending on your process, you may want to restrict customers from closing tickets. If that's the case, check this option. After making any changes, click Discard if you don't want to save them, or Save Permissions at the bottom right to save your changes. The final tab, Company Users, shows the users assigned to this company. You can add or remove users as needed. To add a new user, click the New Company User button at the top right. Follow the same steps as you did in the Users section to create a new customer. It's the same screen. Be sure to save your changes. That concludes the Companies section. Let's move on to the Tickets category. A ticket is a record used to track and manage service requests, incidents, complaints, tasks, and many other types of user requests within the system. It documents interactions between users and support teams, including details like type, requester, priority, status, and communication history. Please click on the Tickets category and select the Configuration section below. The system will display several tabs where the configurations are divided. You'll see Queue, Queue Permissions, Types, Type Permissions, Statuses, Priorities, and Ticket Number Format. Below, we'll explain each of these tabs and the possible configurations you can make, along with some examples. Let's start with queues. In Mint Service Desk, one of the most important elements to define is the queue structure. Since queues form the foundation of much of the system's configuration, it's important to take your time defining them based on your business requirements before configuring them here. A queue can be defined as a container for tickets, where only the tickets that meet certain criteria based on your configurations and business needs will appear. A queue helps organize and categorize tickets based on teams, departments, or logical units, routing them to the right people for efficient handling and faster resolution. It's important to analyze your workflows and processes before defining the queue structure, ensuring that tickets from these workflows or processes are placed in the right queues for management. In some cases, a queue can represent a department, work group, or a logical unit. For example, you might create queues for support, sales, IT, finance, etc. Or you could structure them as service desk, second-level support, third-level support, etc. Additionally, you might create a queue for a team or function that exists operationally but not officially within the company. For instance, if you have an IT queue but need a separate one for databases, you could create a databases queue to manage those specific tickets. It's essential to remember that Mint Service Desk can be used for internal, external, or both types of clients. A common mistake when defining a queue structure is creating a separate queue for every client. This approach is problematic because it means the queue structure grows along with the number of clients, which can become unmanageable. The queue structure should be scalable to support any number of clients, but it shouldn't grow based on the number of clients. You should only modify the queue structure if new processes or workflows are added to the system. Otherwise, adding queues as you gain more clients can lead to complexity and inefficiency. We recommend meeting with process owners, operations managers, and other stakeholders to analyze the different workflows and processes you want to implement. This will help you define and agree on a queue structure that meets your needs. How do you know if your structure is right? When you think of any example ticket, there should be a queue where it can be assigned for resolution. Once your queue structure is defined, go to the configuration section where you'll find a button to create new queue at the top right of your screen. Click on this button, and a pop-up will appear asking you to enter the name of the new queue. Enter the name and click Add New Queue. You can repeat this step to create additional queues. Afterward, you'll see the created queues listed. To the right of each queue, you'll find two buttons: Add Child Queue and Edit. If you want to add a child queue, click on Add Child Queue, enter the name of the new child queue, and you're done. To edit a queue, click on the Edit button. You'll see a screen similar to the one we worked with when editing customer roles. First, you can change the queue details such as name, description, and counter. The first two are straightforward, but the counter feature allows you to set up different ticket counters for different queues. You need to create the counter first, which we'll cover later. And then you can select it here if you want a specific counter for tickets in this queue. If you prefer a single ticket counter for the entire system, you don't need to configure this option. You'll also see tabs for default agent, auto response, signature, and SLA parameters. These are additional configurations you can set per queue. Click on the Default Agent tab. Here, you can assign a default agent from the drop-down list. This agent will be automatically assigned when a new ticket is created in or moved to this queue. If you want this feature, check the box and click Submit Default Agent to save your changes. In the Auto Response tab, you can select the response to be automatically sent when a ticket is created or closed within this queue. Choose your preferred options from the drop-down menus and click Submit Auto Response. Next, in the Signature tab, select the signature that will be used by default in emails sent from this queue. You can also choose a signature for the preview message and click Submit Signature. The last tab is SLA Parameters, available for systems with the Service Level Agreement feature in their plan. Here, you can apply specific SLA parameters per queue instead of using them per service. Select your preferred parameters from the drop-down menu and click Submit to save. That covers the queue details. Please go ahead and repeat these steps for your other queues. Now that all our queues are configured, let's review the next tab, Queue Permissions. When you click on Queue Permissions, you'll see a list of your configured queues and two drop-down menus beneath the Choose Role title. In the first drop-down, you can select the type of user. Click on it, and you'll see options for agent roles and the companies you've set up in your system. Once you select the user type, the second drop-down will display the roles you've configured, either in company roles or agent roles. On the right side of the queue list, you'll see three checkboxes: Read, Update, and Create. These represent the permissions you can assign to each role. The first option, Read, allows agents with that role to view tickets in the queue. The second, Update, lets agents update ticket attributes such as status, assignee, queue, priority, service, and asset. The final option, Create, allows agents to create tickets within the queue. Please assign the appropriate queue permissions to each of your configured roles and save the changes. If a user later reports that they can't see certain queues or tickets, it's likely due to a missing permission or an issue with the role assigned to the user. You can always revisit this section to review the permissions and roles to find a solution. Next, let's move on to the Types tab. In Mint Service Desk, the ticket type is a classification field used to categorize tickets based on their purpose, such as incidents, complaints, service requests, problems, requests for changes, invoices, sales leads, tasks, and so on. It's customizable, allowing admins to define new types according to business needs. Ticket types also influence workflows, automation, and reporting, making it easier to manage and analyze tickets. The ticket type is a crucial attribute because it determines how tickets are handled after creation. For example, a broken computer reported as an incident is treated differently than a request for a new computer. The resolution process, teams involved, and response times will vary depending on the type. Once you've defined your ticket types, click the Create New Ticket Type button at the top right of your screen. A pop-up will appear asking for the name of the new type. You can also assign a color to each type. This is helpful when dealing with many tickets, as Mint Service Desk will display the color in ticket list views, allowing you to quickly recognize the type. For example, you could assign the color red to incident tickets. Repeat this process for all your ticket types. You'll now see them listed. Next to each type, you'll find two buttons, Edit and Delete. Clicking the Edit button allows you to modify the type's name and permissions, which we'll discuss shortly. The Delete button lets you remove a type if necessary. Let's move on to the next tab. Type permissions. Click on it, and you'll see a screen similar to queue permissions. Here, you'll find a list of your configured ticket types and 2 drop-down menus under the Choose Role title. In the first drop-down, you can select the type of user. Click on it, and you'll see agent roles and the companies configured in your system. Once you select the user type, the second drop-down will display the roles you've defined in either company roles or agent roles. On the right side of the list, you'll see 2 checkboxes, Read and Write. The Read permission allows agents with the selected role to view that ticket type, while the Write permission allows them to update tickets of that type. Assign the appropriate permissions for each type to your roles and save the changes. Next, click on the Statuses tab. Here, you'll see your ticket types listed, each within its own configuration box. This section allows you to define specific statuses for each ticket type if desired. By default, Mint Service Desk includes statuses like New, In Progress, Pending, Reopened, Workaround, and Closed. If these statuses meet your needs, there's no further action required, just move on to the next tab. However, if you want to define specific workflows for one or more ticket types, this is where you can do it. Click on a ticket type, and all status options will be displayed. You can add as many statuses as needed by typing the name, selecting the status type, and choosing a color. The color helps differentiate statuses in ticket views, making them easier to recognize. On the left side of the status names, you can drag and drop statuses to reorder them. You can also add new statuses or edit existing ones. On the right side, you'll see the Status Transitions section. This is where you can configure ticket workflows. For example, if you have a ticket type that follows a specific process and you don't want users to skip certain statuses, you can configure that here. You might want a ticket to move from New to Assigned, then to In Progress, and later to Pending or Workaround, and finally to Closed. Select the transitions that are allowed for each status. Please configure your transitions. And if you want to hide any transitions from users, you can check the hidden box. Now, let's move to the next tab. Priorities. You'll see a list of predefined priorities. You can keep these as they are or create new ones based on your business needs. To create a new priority, click the Add New Priority button at the top right of the screen. A pop-up will appear asking for the name of your new priority. Enter the name and click Add New Priority. On the right side of the priorities list, you'll see 2 options, Edit and Delete. Clicking Edit will allow you to change the priority's name and add a description. This description will be shown in the ticket creation screen and can explain when users should select each priority. You can format the description using the HTML editor. After editing the priority description, go to the second tab, Assign Priority to Ticket Types. Here, you can link priorities to specific ticket types. For example, you might assign multiple priorities to incidents but fewer to service requests, depending on your business requirements. Once you've finished configuring the priority, click Save at the bottom. If you want to delete a priority, click Delete next to the priority you want to remove. Finally, let's review the last tab in Ticket Configurations. Ticket Counter Format. Click on this tab, and the system will display the default ticket counter format. If you're happy with the default, there's nothing more to do here. However, if you want to modify the counter or create a new one, click Add New Ticket Number Format at the top right or click Edit next to the default counter. The system will take you to a page with 5 sections: Preview, Name, Count From, Add Field, and the counter format configuration itself. The preview shows how your configured counter will look. In the Name field, enter a name for your counter. If you want your counter to start from a number other than 1, enter the desired starting number. The Add Field option lets you add fields to your ticket counter structure. You can then drag and drop these fields to customize your counter. You can change the prefix, date format, and number of digits as needed. Once you've finished configuring, click Save Changes to apply the new format. You can configure multiple ticket counters and assign them to different queues if desired. We discussed this option earlier in the video. With that, we've completed the ticket configurations and are ready to create our first ticket as an agent. In the top right corner of your screen, click on your username. A drop-down menu will appear. From there, select Logout. You will be redirected to the login portal. We will log in as an agent using one of the agent accounts we've set up previously. And we'll create our first ticket. Please enter your username and password. Then click the login button. The agent dashboard will load. And from there, go to the top right corner and click on the new ticket button. The ticket creation screen will appear, displaying all the elements we've previously configured, such as companies, customers, types, queues, and priorities. The information shown is tailored based on the roles and permissions we've set up. Please complete the form to create your first ticket. If you'd like to learn more about the agent portal, please check out our separate dedicated video on the agent portal. Now that you've created your first ticket, please log out as an agent and log back in as an admin. Now that we're back in the admin portal, feel free to review the previous configurations. To wrap up this video, we'll walk you through the global settings section in the admin portal, where you can configure additional settings to align the system with your company's business needs and branding. On the left sidebar, under the additional features section, click on the settings category. The system will open the global settings section, which has 4 tabs: global settings, tickets, users, and logo. Let's start with the global settings tab. Here, you can configure 3 key elements for your Mint Service Desk instance: time zone, default language, and browser tab title. First, set your preferred time zone. Then, choose the default language and, if desired, enter a new tab title. Once you've made your changes, click the Save Changes button at the bottom right corner of the screen. Next, click on the Tickets tab. Here, you'll find additional global ticket settings to help you further customize your system. You'll see 3 sections: Definition Details, Signature, and Ticket Auto Response. In the Definition Details section, you can adjust various settings related to ticket management, including sorting preferences, default behaviors, ticket appearance, and automation rules to better fit your workflow. In the Signature section, you can configure your signatures policy and system signatures. In the Ticket Auto Response section, you can adjust the channel type and autoresponder mailbox settings. Don't forget to click Save Changes after modifying any section. Now, click on the Users tab. Here, you can manage user-related settings, including authentication, security policies, and login behavior. This section is divided into 4 areas: company user, password policy, 2-factor authentication, and login settings. You can define user permissions, enforce password security, enable 2-factor authentication, and adjust login options for enhanced security. Be sure to make the necessary changes based on your business needs and click Save Changes. Finally, in the Logo tab, you can customize the system's visual appearance, including the login page and sidebar. This section allows you to update logos, adjust text properties such as color, size, and font, and choose background options to match your branding or preferences. Upload your logo images, configure the desired colors, and then click Save Changes. We've covered all the essential topics and the basic features you'll need when starting with the system after setting up your new trial. If you have any questions or comments, please reach out to us. Thank you for watching.